I thought I would be very, very nervous, but I'm not. It is such an indescribable honor to be here in a room where everybody is involved in chronic myeloid leukemia, CML. Till I was maybe 50 years old, being very honest, I did not even know that there was one kind of leukemia called chronic myeloid leukemia. 22 years later, I am 72 years old, and my life knows nothing else other than how to work with CML patients and to bring them every good thing that they deserve in their lives. Ever since I began working in CML, I have admired these names: Tim Hughes, Jorge Cortez, Pepe, Michael, Mauro. In India, we don't use first names. But yesterday, I suddenly called out to Dr. Cortez saying, Jorge, and I said to myself, I've come a long way. Admiring the work all of you do, adoring the work all of you do, adoring the people you are, and today to stand here and receive this award, it's indescribable. That's all I can say. I've got my notes with me because I know we have to keep to time, and if I don't follow this, I can wander a lot. As I accept this award today, bestowed upon me by the iCMLf, I know that the honor is not mine alone. This award celebrates every CML patient and his or her family, every treating physician, the Max Foundation, and my team that I'm blessed to lead in this region. This award is a tribute to the community of committed and passionate people who came together for a cause. It is a celebration of what each one of them have achieved. I bow my head in deep gratitude as I accept this recognition on their behalf. In this photograph, you can see all of them. You can see the physicians, you can see our team, you can see patients, you can see their caregivers, and this is the world I live in. Cancer is as old as humanity. We know we have a long way to go before we can even find the perfect cure for this condition. You see, Mother Nature is always one step ahead of science. There is no getting away from that reality. But what we have learned, however, is how to fight the fear and the stigma associated with cancer. We have also learned how to live with it and to ensure that with extension of life, there is also quality of life. It takes a community that is bound together with compassion and courage to bring effective, result-oriented interventions in cancer care. Now, in this photograph, there is a treating physician, there is a father of a patient, there is a grandfather of a patient, there is a nephew of a patient, and a patient himself. This is at least 14 years old, and this is the energy that still drives every single person associated with the work we do. I stand here today actually bearing testimony to one such joint effort. That's why I say it takes a village. I would like to call it the most perfect venture into this arena. It began more than 2 decades ago in the year 2001. It took one empathetic decision by a pharma industry leader to create a partnership with a nonprofit, to bring together and change the lives of thousands of CML patients. This has since actually become a blueprint for many other such ventures. This is such a unique moment captured. That's Dan Vasella, then CEO of Novartis. There is Ranjit Shahani, who is no longer with us, who was the managing director of Novartis India. My dear Pat, my soul sister, my mentor, my inspiration, and Dr. V. Shanta of the Adyar Cancer Center, who is also no more, and the thousands of patients who had come to attend this meeting to join them. Dan had flown all the way from Basel. He spent the whole day with us. He met these patients whose lives his one decision had changed. It was called the magic bullet, and yes, we all know that it was what converted a fatal cancer into a chronic manageable condition. It meant patients would be living with their cancer. This is an artwork created by the nephew of one of our patients. Patient was called Rajan. He's since passed away. He was diagnosed in blast crisis. But this little boy invoked a story in Indian mythology when the lords above were very angry and they brought torrential rain, but Lord Krishna, he picked up the mountain in his hand, and the mountain has a little flag that says Glivek, and all the people took shelter under that mountain. And this is a young 9-year-old boy who saw his uncle getting a new life with this medication. What we did was we actually framed this piece of artwork, and when Dan Vasella came to visit in Chennai at that meeting, one of our little patients gifted this artwork to him. I just wanted to share this with everybody. You see, it is pharma lore by now. They say that when Glivec was launched, somebody stood up at the press conference and said, "This is wonderful, but how do you think people would be able to afford a drug that costs $2,000 US, a drug that they have to take for the rest of their lives?" And they say that without batting an eyelid, Dan Vasella said that if there is anybody who does not have private means to buy this medicine, who has no access to insurance or no recourse to reimbursement, Novartis will give the drug to that patient at no cost. So this was a very long time ago. This young lady, a young mother who was a patient who came to the Max Foundation office that was set up in Mumbai with her baby to collect her medication. I think back to that day 22 years ago when I met Dan Vasella for the first time when he came to Mumbai, and that's Mr. Shahani introducing me to him. It is collaboration in its purest form. This is something that's it's magical. It's something that I don't think anybody ever even dreamt about. But there are dreams that we don't dream which come true. And I think we are all, everybody in this room is a testament to that fact. It was collaboration in its purest form. The Max Foundation and Novartis, we went about. And this is something I think only leaders with vision can ever even envisage. We put our team together at the Max Foundation. This wasn't a chance, an opportunity for us like no other. This is a photograph taken at a patient meeting in New Delhi in 2006. And this is my first team of the Max Foundation. We were already taking care of, I think, around 2,000 odd patients by that time. And the numbers swelled. One would never have thought there would be so many patients who were diagnosed with chronic myeloid leukemia. But now that we had a treatment and there was access to that treatment being available is just not enough. There has to be access to that treatment. And now there was access to that treatment, and the numbers swelled, as did my team members. At the Max Foundation today, we are 100 strong, and each individual has been chosen, handpicked, not only keeping their skills and competencies in mind, but their innate compassion, their dedication, their ability and their desire to walk that extra mile, to think out of the box, and to give everything to their patients. How did we further strengthen this collaboration? By bringing together on our board the best oncologists and hematologists. They, in turn, ensured that their patients received accurate diagnosis, periodic monitoring to keep their cancer at bay and give them the best chance at survival. These are some of our physicians in India. This was at a patient group meeting in Bangalore. Many faces are very, very familiar here. This was sometime in 2008. The reason I decided to put all these photographs is that I think each photograph speaks more than 1,000 words. And like Lewis Carroll said, you cannot tell a story without pictures. So please forgive me for this. And now we come to our patients. Patients of all ages and gender, belonging to varied socioeconomic strata. To us at the Max Foundation, they're not just their individual pin. This is Harihar Bachi Singh, who lived with chronic myeloid leukemia for 26 years. She was one of our first patients who came into the program. That's her little grandson. He was 1 year old when I took this photograph at that time. Today, this little boy is 21 years old. We lost Harihar Bachi Singh last year, but not to chronic myeloid leukemia. She died after the pandemic. She contracted an infection. But it is patients like these. They are little children who we've seen grow up into young adults. They are young adults who have now who finished their education, who have married, and who are householders. They are middle-aged couples, aging gracefully and becoming grandparents. They all have one thing in common. They are living with cancer and on lifelong medication. Very soon we realized that there could be no greater burden than this. It was very nice to tell them, oh, you have a very good cancer. We have treatment for you. You're getting the drug at no cost. But believe me, there is no such thing as good cancer. And we realized that our patients were stressed, they were traumatized. And I honestly feel if there was... if it was just the drug that the patient needed, then there was nothing else needed to be done. But then we did realize that these are the most vulnerable section of society. And what we put next into motion was something, it happened organically. It just had to happen. We put together a support group for these patients so that they could share and learn from one another. Today, this is the largest group of CML patients. This photograph taken in 2009, these are our patients at a patient support group in Calcutta. And they chose the theme for this meeting, and the meeting was Chulo. The theme was Chulo Asman. Chulo Asman. Asman is the sky, and Chulo means reach out for the skies. And this is how does one say it? This is, what I learned from our patients is this courage. They're looking at end of life, they're facing their mortality, but they have made what was defining their life, what was changing their lives, they made that their crutch, their source of strength. I think it was Ernest Hemingway who said that the world can break you into many pieces, but in those broken spaces, those broken places, that's where you become so very strong. So that's how these patients are. See, these were patients who suddenly found themselves abandoned. It's like a journey of life, and you're told suddenly to get off at one destination, and they found that they could come together, they could look and find, they could seek and find for themselves a parallel track which would take them to the same destination, a new normal. This was at a patient meeting. These are women who never knew each other before, but if you can make out the artwork that they're creating, this is hope. Is the sun rising from behind the mountains. So these were patients who found themselves abandoned, and they were left to find their own path ahead, and we were there to help them. That is perhaps our oldest diagnosed patient and our youngest patient at a patient group meeting in Mumbai. Now, a safe and secure platform. Like I said, they were fathers and mothers, grandparents, they were children, they were school children. I think our youngest patient was about 2 or 3 years old. And then when they found that they could come together, they could share and learn from each other, like I said, at the cost of repeating myself, that was their biggest strength. This was taken at a meeting in Kolkata. By now, everybody knows that if I'm there, I have to take a selfie. And it's like, unless that selfie is taken, it did not, whatever was happening did not happen. There was a time when when our patients would not want us to call their homes, they wouldn't want to share their diagnosis. There is still so much of stigma, so much of discrimination at the workplace, in their homes. But then a time came when they would ask me, Amma, you didn't tag me on the Facebook post? So they were willing to stand up and say, yes, I am diagnosed with chronic myeloid leukemia and I am living my life well. So this is a photograph that's very dear to me. So they were team players. You can see Sundar here, Pramod, Nirmesh, Charita, Krishan, Amit, Bindu, Nirmesh, Bharat, Pinakin. This was a slide made by the patients themselves for one of our patient meetings, but I think this describes how they are team players. We would get together, we organized these meetings in cities, towns, parks, beaches. We just needed some ground beneath us and the blue sky above us, and we would gather together. So these meetings, we had physicians join us for question-answer sessions, and then we still do art therapy workshop, drama therapy, compliance, training the volunteers. And I think for us, it is the patient's voice that is the most powerful. It's become our responsibility to amplify it. It is only with empathy and understanding we can identify the patient's needs and make effective those result-oriented interventions we are always talking about. And I feel that just as it's with a little child, you put the child down and you know that the child can be safe, stable, can walk. I think I'm at that stage now. A lot of work still needs to be done. I'm so happy, Bebe, you spoke about Chai for Cancer, because that is something which is raising resources and funds. I say it myself, it's a unique fundraising as well as awareness campaign. We bring the feared, the dreaded disease into an atmosphere that is what chai evokes: tea, just a cup of tea. We ask people to donate. We ask them to name the price for their cup of chai so that it goes into helping little children go to school. We have had cases where the child wasn't sent to school because the father could either pay for the school fees or pay for the child's BCR-ABL test. Today, thanks to funds raised through Chai for Cancer, we are supporting 200 patients every month getting their BCR-ABL tests done at no cost. We are telling patients who are going on TFR, do not worry. If you want to go on TFR and you're working with your physician towards that, you need your tests done, Friends of Max will take care of it. So I think it's something I never thought that it would reach these proportions, but I know now that even Chai for Cancer can stand alone on its own feet. So like our patients have grown, we also have grown, and thank you this is my first desk, my Max Foundation first desk, and we've really come a long way. And thank you, dear John. Again, to be at the John Goldman CML meeting, I don't think any of us will ever stop missing this wonderful man. No Christmas will go without first thinking that it was around Christmas that he left us. He came so often to Bombay, so often to India. We met in Chandigarh, in Kolkata, in Delhi, in Mumbai, and once he told me, dear girl, if this keeps going on, people are going to think there's something fishy going on, right? And that is John. That is the wonderful man that John was. And I'll stop now. Once again, I would like to also dedicate this award to 3 people. My husband, he was really the wind under my sail. Pat, whose vision, whose friendship, we've come so far together. And the city of Mumbai, what I have done today, I don't think I could do anywhere else. I have a degree in English literature, nothing else. But living in the city of Mumbai, working with the other working people. I used to take the local train where the fisherwomen would come with their baskets, splashing with water. They were very careful that my sari shouldn't get wet. We made space for each other. In my first job, I worked with mill workers and factory workers who were constantly chewing tobacco, talking to them about tobacco awareness, talking to the welfare officers, the labor union leaders, getting them to bring their wives so we could talk to their wives about pap smears and self-breast examination. Not one labor office union leader or welfare officer asked me, this is something very often women are asked in India, "Acha, aapke mister kya karte hain?" Like, what does your mister do? Like, I have no identity as a woman. What does my husband do? Not one person in Mumbai ever asked me that question. They took me at my own face value. I just wanted to say this, and once again, thank you, everybody. This is the most beautiful, incredible day of my life.